Hi, I'm Eric Glass, and welcome to Work Talk, where we discuss the most important issues facing your business with some of the brightest minds in the business. Today we're talking about workplace learning, and with me are Marianne Koch, the Associate Dean and HR Program Director at Golden Gate University, and James Cross, the Learning Product Strategist for Workday. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excited to get into this topic. Maybe we'll start with Marianne. You could just give just a little bit more of your background, which spans both education and also within the enterprise.
So mainly I'm an educator. I've been a professor in business schools for a long time, but I also do consulting work with businesses, and I've also been an HR director.
Excellent. James?
Sure. So I've always been fanatical about learning and about the way that technology can help people to learn and grow. Started out as a high school teacher in England, then joined a startup which focused on video-based learning for lots of universities and companies. And now it's great to be here at Workday, working on a product that's going to let millions of workers across the world kind of learn and grow in the enterprise.
So let's start with the fundamentals. What is workplace learning and why is it important? Marianne, let's start with you on that.
Sure. So workplace learning, it's about learning specifics that relate to how you do the work that you're doing, but also to have the opportunity to grow and express yourself and learn new ways and about new information and new things that excite you in ways that might improve the way that the work is done, but also lead to new things that you didn't know about.
Excellent. James, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so I think workplace learning is about engaging people and helping them to grow and giving them the tools and capabilities and content to do that, allowing them to make a better contribution to the organization, and also just allowing them to grow over time as the organization grows and as it encounters new challenges and disruptive business landscapes. And I think learning is increasingly just important to companies and organizations thriving into the future.
So where do most workplace initiatives fall short? James, why don't you start?
Sure. So one of the biggest areas is around engagement with learning content and learning systems. And if you speak to most employees, the LMS is only a place they ever go to when they absolutely have to, essentially when they've got a gun against their head to go and complete some compliance training. It's never a place that anybody ever goes to voluntarily to go and grow or further themselves. And I think that's a huge problem, because how can learning be transformative for an organization if it's being served up in an environment that nobody wants to go to? That's a huge, huge problem.
Building off of that, one of the things that we find in the classroom, just even in the traditional learning setting, is if people are given the opportunity to learn in a variety of ways at their own time and their own pace, then they do a much better job. And if they are provided the three characteristics of work that Daniel Pink identifies as being the motivation for why we work, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, we have the autonomy through the sort of learning platform that is new and different and would allow people to learn at their own pace, in their own way, which gives them the sense that I am in control of what I am learning here. And then having mastered that, then they find themselves much more motivated to do the job and to do a good job at work.
And also, learning feels like, for many employees, it's something that's done to them from up above. So somebody will create some content and assign it to them, and that's how they encounter learning in the workplace. Whereas if you look at how learning works in the real world, it's much more dynamic and personalized and exciting.
Oh, totally.
It's videos that are created by other people. It's engaging content that you can consume at the point of need that helps you to grow and to learn new skills. And that's just so different to how things work in the enterprise today.
It's so true. We see in traditional classrooms where you flip the classroom, where you say, okay, here's some stuff, watch this lecture, listen to this, or read this information beforehand, but then go in and practice it in whatever way you want to do it. You find much more engagement and people getting much more excited about what it is they're learning, and they have to demonstrate it back to you that they've learned it, and therefore they're just way more engaged, and it sticks more with them.
And that's a great example of technology really enhancing and augmenting the in-person experience rather than replacing it. And I think that's something we need to be doing more of today, thinking about how can we use technology in a way that just really augments the face-to-face, really important human element of learning too.
Well, so this is a perfect segue, because I think you guys are already hitting some of the topics, but what does a truly modern learning system look like?
Sure. So first of all, it looks like something you'd actually want to use every day,
right.
Which is an issue with many of the legacy platforms out there. And I think you actually need to speak to your people and ask them. So ask them how they're learning in the real world, ask them how they want to be engaged, and ask them about their experiences of learning in the workplace today. And often you'll find there's a big divide there between the two. And this is actually something that we did here at Workday before we started building our new learning product. We went and spoke to our customers, and we spoke to their employees, and we sat down with them at their desks and just talked to them about learning. And we found a few things. We found, first of all, nobody likes their LMS, and it's never a place that anybody ever goes to voluntarily to help themselves grow or to develop. And we saw that as a huge issue. And then we actually asked these employees, well, how do you learn in the real world? And they described a very different world. They described a world of video, of user-generated content, of interactivity, of content they can just call up and search and consume on demand that helps them to grow and to learn new skills. And that's light years apart from the current state of play in enterprise learning today.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about just the different learning styles and different geographies. Essentially, how do we best meet people where they are?
So one of the things that's very interesting for me in working with students who come from all over the world is that coming from different cultures and different learning styles, there's different expectations about how we should be learning in the workplace. And so in some cultures, it's expected that I'm going to be told what I need to know in a certain fashion, and I can't question it. And there's a sitting back and not quite stepping up to interact with whatever the learning platform is, as opposed to others who just dive right in and will just try everything. So I think that being able to provide a learning system that also can learn about what people's differences are and what they like and how they best learn would be just a great advantage.
And that's something we're seeing in the consumer world today. So when you log into Netflix, it knows you.
Yes.
It knows what you're watching.
Good
it knows
example.
what people like you are watching. And it's able to build a really personalized and engaging experience because of that machine learning behind the scenes. And it's just so exciting to think about how we can apply that to learning, how we can use all of the data that we have on the organization and the employee and actually use that to drive a personalized experience that gets smarter over time as well.
I think another good thing in learning that we should keep in mind that's very important is a pause within learning to practice what we've learned, and so that the learning, whatever it is we're trying to impart or that we want people to learn, has a chance to kind of bake in and for people to practice it so that it really sticks and remains with them and they adopt it and it becomes their own.
So what about video learning? Where and why should that really be incorporated?
So yeah, I really believe in video as being one of the most transformative learning technologies we've seen in our lifetimes. I think video has always been really powerful for learning. Like millions of children learn to recite the alphabet on Sesame Street. And we've all watched things on the news that have really touched us and just been impacted by the power of video. But I think what's changed in the last maybe 5 years is that video is now within reach of all of us. We can all now create it, we can share it. And it's amazing to see that a whole learning community has formed online around video. And video, I think it's so powerful because it's human.
When you use video to teach or to learn in any setting, you have the ability to bring in all kinds of different instructors or sharers of information.
Yeah.
And we've said a few times that people learn at different paces and in different ways. And one of the most powerful things about videos is that it puts learners in control. So I could watch a video 15 times before I get a concept, and that's fine. That doesn't matter.
That's true.
I'm in complete control of how, when, and where I consume that content. Yet if I'd gone to a class and just listened to an instructor recite that once, and if I didn't get the concept at that point, I'd be kind of lost. So video really puts people in control of their learning.
Well, so to that end, user-generated content is a big piece of that puzzle and a big piece of the way that people learn on their own. Where does user-generated content sit in the context of the business world?
This is just a marvelous new addition to people to be able to say, aha, I learned this, and let me share it with others, and be able to just make a little video or somehow be able to get online and with their coworkers or with others who work in the same line of work to be able to say, here's what I've done.
Yeah. I think it just enables people to share what they know and to learn from each other in a really powerful way.
Having multiple users generating just their own take on some topic is, you get slight variations and differences in ways that even if you're seeing the same topic covered multiple times, you're getting something slightly different and new with each one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about just the number of times, if there's something I'm trying to figure out, or just some piece of knowledge that I need in the workplace, and the times I've had to like really run around and get with this person and that person and this floor and this building, and to be able to access that in one place, so quick, easy video, just as we do in our personal lives. I mean, that really would be a game changer. Okay, so why now? Why should I start a Rethink a Learning initiative now?
Because your people are demanding it, because we know that learning is one of the most important reasons today that millennials actually select a company to work for, the learning and development opportunities it offers. And we also know that it's the most frequent reason that a millennial will actually recommend a company as a great place to work. So people want to be engaged, they want the opportunity to grow, and it's really important to engagement and retention and recruiting for companies.
It's absolutely the case that people, when you talk to people about why they stay at a company, it's if they find that they can learn new things, that they can build themselves, build their own knowledge base, and that if they aren't challenged, they're not going to want to work for you. And when they go out to look for jobs, one of the first things they want to find out about is what kind of opportunities will I have for learning on this new job? Because it's not just about getting the work done, but it's about what is this going to do for me.
I think learning is something that really compounds throughout your career. If you can get a good head start in learning and developing yourself early on, then that just compounds, and that's really, really powerful.
It's really true.
So let's close with a 30-second elevator pitch. You've got an exec that doesn't take workplace learning seriously. What are you going to say to make the case? Marianne, we'll start with you. I'm not timing you, but elevator pitch.
You have to take it seriously. You have to have a learning system if you want to attract the right workforce, and if you want to keep the people there and keep them happy, and then the end result is you get a better product from it.
I'm sold.
Thanks.
James?
Me too. So yeah, I talk about the success of their business, and I talk about how important learning is to that and how important people engagement is to that. And I think right now we're in such a changing business environment. We're seeing new business models disrupting existing companies. We're seeing huge threats, but also huge opportunities as well for companies that can adapt and thrive. And I think learning is just so central to companies' abilities to thrive in this changing business landscape. And if you want to do that, you need people who are adaptable, you need people who are highly engaged, and you need people who know how to learn and how to be adaptive. And I think learning gives you a way of doing that, and just making sure that your workforce are able to adapt to these changing environments.
Yep.
That's great. Well, Marianne, James, thank you so much for your ideas and your time. We've been here talking about learning in the workplace. Thanks again for joining another episode of Work Talk.